Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca, and in this video we are going to discuss some big impact plant displays that you can try yourself. As you can see behind me, I have my new plant display up. I'm so excited for this. I feel like it's made just the biggest impact in this room, and stay tuned because I do have at least one more planned for this room. But I wanted to film this video because I wanted to share with you just some really cool ideas that I found online and some that I've tried myself of ways to display our plants in a big impactful way. This video is also sponsored by Squarespace. We will talk more about them a little bit later. I want to start off with probably the easiest way that you can have a big impactful plant display, and that is just by tacking up your vines from your plants up on the wall. You don't even need to put holes in the walls for this. There are little products that are sticky, so it's kind of like a command strip that kind of claw clip your plant in, and it allows the vines to grow up and around. I will link a couple clips down below if you're interested in trying this one out. You can do this with pothos, heartleaf philodendron, really any plant that trails is gonna love this. Next up, I'm going to shout out self-watering plant pots that you can hang on the wall. So there's a couple different brands that make these, and I've even seen some like 3D printed versions that make like clips or just pots in general that can like clip into something, and it's a 3D printed situation, so you could get the files and make it yourself if you have a 3D printer, or you can probably buy them from Etsy. Again, I will link a couple down below that I think would be good for this. I love the idea of having just like baskets of plants all over the wall, and you can combine this one with the last one to snake the leaves and vines up your wall coming out of the planter. One of the most common or like popular companies that I've seen is Wally Grow, and Wally Grow is really popular because it's a self-watering container, so you don't have to do anything intense really. You're just adding water to the back compartment, and then the plant will uptake what it needs. You also aren't going to have to deal with leaking down the wall, which is sometimes a common situation with other types of planters if you don't have a self-watering planter or a way to capture the water before it falls down. In my last house, I had an installment where I had 2x2 pieces of wood going horizontal, and then I put plant clips on those pieces of wood. And this installation was really cool because it allowed me to have like 6 to 8 plants per row while only putting 2 holes in the entire wall, or maybe 3, it depends on how many studs I was able to capture. But with this, hanging plants on the walls, you have to know that plants are heavy, and if you're screwing into drywall, it's not going to be able to long-term hold your plants without either pretty heavy-duty anchors or drilling into a stud. As I mentioned before, there's many different types of plant clips, some 3D printed with a compatible 3D printed pot, but others you can just pick up from Amazon or your local garden center. They're usually black and they're called flower pot clips. That route is honestly super affordable because terracotta pots like that are super cheap as it is, and then the clips themselves aren't very expensive. You can install those with a drywall anchor. In fact, I would highly suggest that you do if you're not going to be drilling into a stud, and voila, you have a beautiful plant wall. I've also seen ones that are like rings, so also use your drywall anchors if you're not in a stud, and you just put your plants in those rings. Now, the only problem with these is there's not a way for you to really water those plants in place because the water is going to fall out onto the ground. If you're using them for indoors, you are going to have to take down each individual plant one by one, water them, and then put them back up. And this was a big problem that I had with my plant wall when I did this. It wasn't a big problem to the point where I wanted to change the wall, but it is something that I had a really big consideration for when I started planning the new plant installation that I have going. I just am more aware that it's kind of annoying to have to make sure all the plants are completely watered and done draining before they go back up on the wall. Just be aware of the damage that could happen because we're dealing with water inside our home. And yeah, I don't want you to have mold. I don't want you to damage your floors or your subfloor or something like that. I know it's not fun to talk about the responsible part of owning houseplants and taking care of them, but it is definitely something that you need to consider when you are bringing water regularly into your home. This video is sponsored by Squarespace, which is the all-in-one platform to help entrepreneurs stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting a business or you're moving your business over to Squarespace, they make it really easy to create a beautiful website to engage with your audience and meet all of your business goals. One of my favorite things about Squarespace is just how easy it is to use, and now with their design intelligence features, customers. It is even easier to have the same beautiful brand identity across everything. Design Intelligence empowers anyone to build a beautiful, more personalized website tailored to your unique needs. A feature that I have recently started using is Squarespace payments, because I actually had my first merch launch on this new website a couple weeks ago, and it went so smooth, like not a single issue with payments, which is something that I was kind of expecting to happen, but it was perfect. I was able to give my customers more options to pay, which was really important to me, so I was able to offer credit card, Klarna, and Afterpay. Squarespace also has a really cool feature that I am possibly looking into getting into in the future, and that is courses. I really love the teaching aspect of Houseplants, and I'm thinking about doing something with that. So let me know if you'd be interested in any sort of course from me and what topic you would like, because that's definitely something that I have considered getting into. So if you're interested in creating a website for your business and getting started dabbling in e-commerce and blogging and anything else like that, I would highly suggest using Squarespace. You can head to the link down below and use the code BeccaDailyPlants for 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Now, a setup that I saw on Pinterest that is kind of a similar idea to what I did in my plant room, but much smaller and probably slightly easier, is using a metal grid and hanging that on the wall. I think this is so cool because you really could just use 2 hooks in a stud for this one, okay, because it's a lot of weight. And then you get like little special hooks to hook on your plants to the metal grate. And I just think that this is so cool, so beautiful. It looks a little bit more industrial. It also allows you to just move the plants really anywhere on the grid you want. With my last system, there was only certain spots on the vertical axis, on the vertical space, that I could put the plants. And with this, you can do something totally different each time you put your plants back up. I just think it would be really cool. And this is also really great for small plant spaces. Like if you only have a small wall across from a window, this is it. I think this is a perfect solution. This is also cool because I feel like you have more of a variety of hooks and things that you can put on it. So it doesn't have to just be one specific type of plant pot. You could put any type of pot, just depending on the hooks that you find. And also you could put propagations, you could put spag props, water props, like all of these things. I just think it would be really cool. And if you like the more earthy feel of the wood look, I did also find another grid situation that's made out of wood. And I was actually thinking maybe you could buy a pre-made lattice trellis and put that on your wall and see how you can hang things on that. I would definitely make sure that it's going to be strong enough to hold your pots. Maybe I wouldn't put a ton of ceramic pots on it, depending on how thin or thick the wood is on that trellis, but I think that would be super beautiful as well. Plants could climb up it as well as being like hooked onto it. If you're going to build it similar to this picture, this wood looks no wider than 2 inches. So if you don't have power tools, you could pick up a handsaw and easily saw that down, because it's only like 2 inches by 2 inches at max, or 2 inches by 1 inch. And that's not very hard to saw through by hand. One more option that I think is just so cool, and this keeps coming back to me, a long time ago, I had a plant friend, Gail, send me a picture, or it was on her Instagram, of empty frames with the plant hooks in the middle of the frame, and you put a plant there. So it looks like you've framed a plant. I think this is such a cool way to add plants into your decor, especially if you have like a gallery wall or something. I saw this on Pinterest of somebody in their gallery wall putting water props, like water prop vases, inside of a frame. I've discovered that water props really don't need as much light and resources as we think, because actually I don't know why. I wish that I knew why, but I've just noticed that I can put water props in really dark spaces and they're totally fine, totally happy, don't need anything. So I do feel like they are a good option if you have a darker spot in your home. Maybe there's a gallery wall already there. You could definitely add in some water props in your gallery wall, just empty out a frame and do that. I think it's just, yeah, that would be so cool and beautiful, and I'm definitely going to be implementing this one somewhere in my house very soon. And as you can see behind me, I have 6 of the Benji bookshelves from Nathan James, and I love these shelves. They are perfect for plants. It was a little bit tedious to put all of them up because you want them to be perfectly aligned, and with this wall that I put it up on, it's technically an exterior wall, so it was a little bit wonky. I do think that if I was installing this on an interior wall, I would not have had those issues and everything would have laid like nice and flush. But just with my situation, there's a little bit of gaps and like, you know, but we can disguise that with plants. I really love the idea of having this big display behind me because I can just change it up whenever I want. I'm not limited to the certain type of pot or size of pot or anything like that. Well, I guess I can't put too big of pots on the bottom sections. On the top, I could put pretty big pots, but yeah, I'm not as limited as I was with my other plant wall. And with this one, I can put books on it, I can put decor. So I'm not feeling like I need to completely fill it with plants every single section, although there are a lot of plants on it and I really, really love that. I never really considered myself very good at shelf styling, but I feel like being able to put like 20 plants up on the shelves helps a ton because anything else you put up there is just extra because the eyes are automatically drawn to the plants. So any shelf styling faux pas I might have made, it's really not that noticeable because you're really just looking at the plants. So I'm super excited about this new display and I hope that you enjoyed seeing me style it the other day. If you missed that video, I showed it and I did my first styling on it, and I've already done like updated stylings on Instagram, so you can follow me over on Instagram if you want to see more. But yeah, those are my ideas for impactful plant displays. I'm super excited to hear if you guys have ever done any of these, and if you have anything that I didn't mention, maybe we'll do a part 2 because I'm really intrigued by this idea and I would love to consult people or help people build their own plant displays. It's something that I'm sort of dabbling in creating ideas for. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you being here. Make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.